Joining us on the newsline is Anna Tauzin with the Texas Restaurant Association. Anna, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Just want to get your general thoughts on, the mood of the business climate and what we're dealing with this week.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's not good. I wish I had some better news to share with you guys, but we know that across the state we have more than 50,000 restaurant locations. We represent 1.4 million employees. That's about 10% of the workforce in the state. And right now we're looking at probably 500,000 jobs that are going to be lost in the coming weeks because of this.
Across the state. Wow.
Across the state.
That is that could have a tremendous impact. And also, I've seen some interesting data that I just really didn't think about before. Mm-hmm. Most people get their food daily from a restaurant, not a grocery store.
About 50%. So, yeah, if you look at the share of the food dollar between where people spend their money on getting food, half of it's from grocery and the other half is from restaurant, which is pretty significant. That hasn't been that way for very long.
So what do you want to tell some of these? Let's talk about what business owners are doing. I know we have some drive-through and delivery. How long can they keep that up and stay afloat?
Right. Well, the good thing is the governor has allowed restaurants to stay open, and it's up to the individual mayors and municipalities to figure out if they need to close their dining rooms. So we're asking that for the state and local governments that are looking to close restaurant dining rooms to rely on science, that kind of thing. But yes, for delivery and curbside and to go, that is still open for everywhere across the state. And so we're hoping that restaurants are taking advantage of that. A lot of third-party delivery partners have slashed their commission rates to make it a little bit easier for people to do that. But it's essentially like building a whole new business model, especially if you're a full-service restaurant switching to curbside. That's really challenging. Yeah,
we've had several of your members call the show restaurant owners this morning already, saying they've turned the wait staff into delivery teams.
Well, and they have to be careful about that because there's some insurance implications that they just want to double check on there. But yeah, I've seen a lot of restaurants. Unfortunately, I actually witnessed one of our members lay off their entire staff the other day. It was heartbreaking to see this happen. These are very hardworking people, and of course, not a lot of restaurants are hiring right now because of that. We've sort of flipped the switch on where we are with workforce. Now everyone's going to be out of a job, and so we're trying to come up with as many resources as possible.
This is the perfect storm. I mean, the industry was already suffering a little bit with high property taxes. We've had many iconic businesses here in Austin just shut down because of taxes. The job market has been very tight, trying to find good employees. This is a triple whammy right here.
It really, really is. And these stories are so very important. They need to reach the governor, the mayors, the state senators and state reps, and our U.S. senators and U.S. reps as well. They are considering legislation right now in the U.S. Senate that could provide some relief for our business owners and our employees. And it's so important that these stories reach them so they know what to do whenever they're passing this legislation. The last thing we want to do is put more onus on the backs of these restaurant owners.
Absolutely. What do you want? Is there any additional things we could do on the state level? Anything the Mayor Adler here in Austin could do? What do you need?
Those are private conversations probably between us and Mayor Adler. But I do think that it's the May 1st deadline for when he's going to reevaluate this is so far out. It's really hard for restaurants to take a look at that and think, well, what do I do right now? The first thing that they should probably think about doing is taking care of their staff and laying them off so that they can get unemployment benefits. And
6 weeks.
That's terrible to say.
Yeah.
But that's the reality we're in right now.
6 weeks is what the mayor said. Is that right? Is that too long? Do you wish it would have made more like 2 weeks and then reevaluate?
That's exactly right. Yeah,
Yes.
Dallas County and Harris County did that. They set deadlines for 7 days, 8 days, and they're going to reevaluate, and that's totally fine. It's good to reevaluate the situation we're in constantly, and pushing out dates is fine. But to set it so far sends a kind of a terrified message to a lot of our industry.
Yeah. You mentioned private conversations with the mayor and the governor, and I don't want to pick that apart too much because I understand negotiations and stuff. But you are seeking some sort of additional relief from the city for restaurant employees.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have a lot. I don't want to get into it too long because it is a long list of demands that's going to really help the restaurant industry. But essentially, what we need is access to capital, right, and rent forgiveness, and tax relief. We're working right now with TABC and the governor's office as well on some special circumstances that we're hoping we can share later today. But that's essentially what we're looking for is access to capital and tax relief and rent forgiveness for a lot of people.
Customers are listening right now. How can we help?
Please order curbside, order to go, order delivery, call the restaurant. Honestly, just talking to some of these restaurant owners is really helpful too, to let them know that you're there for them and that you will come back, you will order gift cards, you will be there to celebrate life and birthdays and anniversaries again when this is all over.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate your calling in this morning. Thank you so much. Some great information there. Anna Tauzin with the Texas Restaurant Association on the Todd and Don Show.
The Todd and Don Show.
If you own a